Testing microphone, testing microphone. All right, peeps, let's start. Welcome to another live. And today we're gonna start by the fact that we actually, in the last tutorial, we ended up bringing some cliffs. I'm gonna show you guys the process, the progress of what we had. Can you guys see the screen? Please let me know if there's any feedback about audio or if the microphone is not working. Please let me be aware. So we ended up creating a bunch of different things here. So we had the curve, we had the terrain shape and form. We ended up creating a lot of the aspect of how the noise of the terrain works and how we are able to bring all the normals and every shape and, of the surface. The silhouette of the terrain is already placed, so we ended up going for the cliff areas. So the cliff itself, we created three curves, right? And all of them kind of sort of like loft and extrude from each other. So you can see here. And we ended up creating some cuts. So we have some 3 horizontal cuts on each one of them. And that which actually makes us, enables us actually to extrude in between each other if we wanted to. And then we went to the part side of creating the details itself. But the thing is, I want to actually start by, let's just say this, I'm gonna delete this whole part because I was so sleepy at the other night. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Man Cave. Welcome. Thank you. So I'm gonna delete this whole part, to be honest with you guys, because that other night I was like so exhausted, and I prefer recreating this, or actually I don't actually like this solution. That's the beauty of procedurality. So I'm gonna delete this part and create something a little bit different. So I'm just gonna leave this from the side. And one of the things that I like to do is whenever if I need any sort of backup of nodes, I'm just gonna do this, and we can actually minimize. And bam, right here, just hides it. And then we're gonna come back to this part. I also was experimenting with some different solutions by myself. And I actually don't like the fact that we have the third curve. So ended up that I am going to delete this part, and we're only going to have the cliff face itself. And we're going to find solutions for the top part later on. So now I have all of the 3 sections right there. And what we can do here, okay, let's just try. Again, all experimentation. Please make questions if you have. And I'm gonna create a connectivity node, and make sure that we have a primitive attribute. And I'm gonna call this cliff. Let's just say we can do sediments or terrace. I'm gonna call it cliff terrace, okay? And this cliff terrace, I'm gonna fuse those guys right here, right? And as soon as I fuse them, I am still able to have the parameter showing. If we go to attributes, you're gonna see all the 3 sections, okay? So now that I have that, I am going to try to extrude them outside in order for us to have some sort of variation of in between each level. There's plenty of ways that we can do this. Let me think about a way. I'm coming with this tutorials, guys. I have no idea how I'm gonna make it. I have to think over it. And if you guys have ideas, please say it. Let me know. All right, so I'm gonna go and create something called. Let's try to divide. Let me try that with the bevel, because honestly, all the shapes that we have here don't necessarily are that complicated, and you guys saw on the other videos, the bevel keeps a lot of problems, but we can try this one. So now I have the bevel. I'm gonna make sure I have the bevel only on the cuts. How do we do this? Okay, so because of the fact that we have here just the three sections, I do not want the bevel to be on the vertical lines. So let me try to think of how we can do this. So let's see. I'm gonna find a solution. Okay, so let's just perhaps before this connectivity, okay, in this clip side of thing, we know that we have distances in between each other, and each clip over here creates groups if we want to, right? So let me just try to see if I'm able to create a group here. No, we can't. So let me do this. So we're gonna have to create a group for each one of those, and just the edge boundary of those guys. So let's do that. I'm gonna put as edges and make sure that we have include by edges. And I'm gonna call this group sediment, or just sed edges. There you go. Actually, I'm gonna create this after the fact. And then I'm gonna press the button on shared edges, so we know that all the yellow lines and all the edge loops are actually on the group. And now I'm able to go, as the fuse goes, I'm going to see if I have that group going on. So I'm going to press on edges right here. And you can see that I found the sedimentary edges right there. But as soon as I have the fuse right here, I do not want the bevel to go on the outside areas. How do we do that? We're able to get, let's try a combined group. All right, but we're gonna have to make sure that we have another group that is just on shared edges from outside. So I'm gonna bring this guy down and the sedimentary edges right there, and I'm gonna uncheck. Let me see here. Let me think about this. Let's try this. Bound sed delete, I guess. There you go. Actually, I'm gonna leave this name as $OS, just so everyone knows. The $OS sign means that if I put the name on the node itself, it's gonna cause the name of the group to actually be right here. Okay, it's just letting you know. And then, since I have the group combined, I'm going to bring the selection edges. Okay, and then the bounce will be the bounce. Sediment edges per se. We need to create another type of name of group. So I'm going to create, I'm going to put sed edges bevel on this guy. And I want it to be equal, but let me see if I'm doing the right thing. Cool. Equals, okay, perfect. No, not perfect. Let me just delete this guy, and I'm going to subtract from whatever I have from this the bevel edges right here. Oops, that doesn't work. See, I'm trying to find out how actually. Okay, selecting edges, perfect. Oh yeah, we don't actually have to have the group combined, so let's do this. I'm going to bring the base group as the selection edges. Okay, but instead of that, I'm going to intersect. Not working. Let's see if I can do this. By the way, anyone from those other tutorials like tried themselves, like play around with whatever I was doing, or even I would love to know stories of like you guys trying. Please let me know if you guys had difficulty with it or any sort of a thing. Or even any kind of node questions, or even the VOP side of things. Like I know VOP is a little more complicated, but I'm sure you guys can handle it. So now you can see that the bounce sedimentary delete, I'm just unifying it. So every single group that I have, I only get the vertical lines, right? What am I doing here? So basically I have the group, which is, let me go and show you guys, is the sediment edges, right? Right here. So I am having a new group, which I know that is the sediment edges right there, but I am pretty much saying, oh, hey, don't do anything and just unify with the negative side of the sediment edges. You can do different ways, but this is a little bit easier for me right now. And now I know that I have the vertical ones. So I'm just gonna pretty much not select the sediment edges. I mean, using the sediment edges per se. And actually we could, it's just that the boundary itself, whenever you create the bevel, I rather avoid the fact that you're putting on the boundary, because let's just say we have the top part of things and we're gonna have to create a bevel on the top, and I don't want it. We could have done that, but I was trying to avoid it, but apparently it worked. So I'm gonna just select the bound, select that just right there, and we have the bevels all over that. Let me just check and see if we still have the attribute, which is the sedimentary one. Let me see. Primitives. Okay, yeah. So you can see now that we do still have those, which is nice, right? But then we do not want the parts that are in the middle of the bevel. So I'm just gonna try to see if I can find that. Actually, let's try to put 2 divisions in order to see if the groups. Yeah, that's much better. So you can see, like, if I put, let me just take the color off. You can see that I have the top part, bottom part, and the middle part. So it's actually separating those guys for us, which is awesome. And now we're gonna be able to actually create this offset from those faces. We know that, let me see if actually it is. Okay, so the cliff terrace is a primitive attribute. Okay, we know that. So we know that we're gonna be able to transform the attribute to be the Z scale for extruding, or we can do a peak. So it depends on what you wanna do, right? So I'm gonna just pretty much create something called, let me think about it. Yeah, I'm gonna promote, okay. I'm gonna do an attribute promote and make sure that the primitive attribute of those ones, which is the cliff terrace, goes to points. So now if I go to points right here, we're gonna have, let me see if I have it here. Yeah, it's right there, as we can see. Perfect. And those guys, instead of actually extruding, I'm going to try moving or transforming. Let's just say that. And I'm gonna create a FOB right here. And let's try to solve that in that kind of way. Well, we don't know if it's gonna happen, but we'll see. What we can do as well, if you guys ever tried, so for example, I'm gonna create different colors just as a visualization. You can do a color right here. And then bring this to be ramp from attribute. And you can bring that cliff terrace right there. So you can see now that, just say I put some sort of two-tone, or let me think. Let me put another different color. So the thing is, the way that the attribute of whatever's happening here, it is causing it to be, let me come back so you guys, it's good to explain to people because it's hard to understand this. If you put it as a press X on your keyboard whenever you, with a node, there's a visualized node that is going to appear, okay? And then you can go and say, I want the cliff terrace, so I'm going to bring that guy out, okay? And you can see that it's black. Well, why, right? We don't know. So we have to make sure that it's or random or anything like that. But since we already brought it out to be primitive, it's still not. 1 second, I'm trying to find. Yeah, ramped attribute. Perfect. So you can still use this visualized node in order to actually separate those guys, but sometimes it's not actually clamped. Okay, so it's if you have, let's just say, 500 parts, right? It's not gonna it's gonna be more than 256 colors or anything like that. So it's a kind of like a HDR or exponential number that is beyond 256 in the colors. So you may have to actually clamp those values in order to make it work. So right now you can see that the range right here, right? It's 1. But you can see now that, like, if I bring it down or up, it's gonna change that aspect. Since we want 3 values, it's gonna have to be or 2. Or we can do, let's see here, -1 to 2, which is 3 dots. So we can have that. Or we can do, yeah, I think that's fine. It's just for visualization purposes, just so you guys can see what we are actually dealing with. Perfect. There's another way that you can do that, by the way. I'm trying to find it. If you use the medium right here, right, on this guy, there's plenty of promotion methods. What does that do is, let's say you blurred those attributes from point to fade to primitives. That's gonna cause it that you're gonna be able to like make a maximum or whatever you want. You can see if I use average right here, you can see that the color is actually having some sort of yellow side of things there. The maximum or minimum, every single one changes. So just explaining that aspect. So we want to use the minimum, to be honest with you, because the way is bringing the values. I want the middle part to actually go together with whatever's going, but you can do your own solution if you want. But let's try it with the minimum for now and see how it goes. All right, we know, okay, so that we have the primitive to point, and we have this attribute happening. So we're gonna create a bind right here and call this attribute to be the cliff terrace, and I'm gonna create a displaced node and put it on, let me think, the mount perhaps, and then bring that normal in and just put it as position. So you guys can see now that we have those happening. Now we don't have the values correctly, like because the fact that this cliff terrace is actually just creating random. Whenever we have this connectivity, is just doing the sort by itself. You could bring different sorting if you want. I'm gonna avoid this for now because it's gonna be a little bit longer, and I'm trying to actually make sure that you guys have the solutions today. Instead of the last day, we went way further and we ended up not doing that. So let me try a little average here so you can see the difference. So as soon as I do the average, you see what we happen. It's just we don't know what that other edge is happening, so you can actually or use maximum or the minimum. And also there's the first match and last match, which is kind of like the same as minimum and max. There's the sum, which pretty much it adds to the effect. And then there's the mode. So you can play around with those methods and find your own solution. I'll just use the minimum for now. The thing is, we know that we want those lines they're in the middle to not move. Or you can simply say, I want the division to be 1. And what we get here is this. Okay, so that's the idea. We could use that. Honestly, let's just go with this solution for now and see how it goes. But there's another thing that I would like to show. We know that sometimes the cliffs they're gonna sort of bring that aspect of some of the sediments are gonna go in and out, right? It's gonna bring that sort of a variation, and I want to try to do that. So what we can do here is, since we have the point, right, attribute, which is the cliff terrace, I'm gonna bring this to be colored for now. So I'm gonna do attribute rename. Let me do point here and just cliff terrace and bring this to color. There you go. So we have those 3. I don't know why necessarily it's actually doing white on the top. It's funny. Let me see. I wonder if I'm able to create some sort of different. Let me see the sorting part. Makes it happen better. Let's do primitive by Y and then see if the color changes. Nope. Yeah, it will be a little bit more difficult to play around with that. I don't remember the solution at the moment. Yeah, you won't. So let's just play around with those values. It's okay. And then we can do a noise, attribute noise right here. And let's multiply all those values with whatever we had before. If you wanted to clamp those values, how do we do it? it's pretty much easy. We can, or I'll do by VOP because I know that artists like a little bit more of the point VOP. And it's cheaper to do by wrangle, but let's do it this way. So we can do, let's do a fit first, okay? So the fit itself brings the color values, it's kind of sort of like a level. And the fit one will clamp out all the values already in between 0 and 1. So it's kind of the same way as the saturate. There's an unclamped one, which is this guy, and the values are going to be 8 HDR, which you don't want it for this solution, so I'm just gonna leave it that way. And put it on CD. I think there's a modulo, yeah, there's a modulo you probably perhaps can do this and see if how this works. No, it's not gonna happen right now, but it's fine. So the fit itself, if you bring, I think I'm not selecting the color of the node. Yes, I am. Why is this not showing anything? That's my question. That's interesting. I think I'm doing something wrong here in 1 second. So we know the attribute is CD, yes. Let me try to take this off first and see if I can bring this to be bind. Yeah, like one of the things that it's very interesting about Houdini, you have to debug a lot. Okay, perfect. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is actually needs to be out. Let's put an average for now, just so we can see if it works. I have, oh, still CD. So we have the color, okay, so I see what's happening. Basically, we still have the color attribute for some reason right here. And over here we don't. I think this VOP is, oh, sorry. So basically what happens here, I put as primitive VOP. We want it to be points. There you go. So now that we have here, we know that the CD is there. Okay, so we're gonna go to the fit. It's supposed to work right now, but it's not. So, but we're gonna try something a little bit different. There you go. So now we have the 2, but now we know that we're able to use the minimum again. Perfect. And now we don't need this one, so we're gonna bring this back to the color. And we're gonna displace those guys again. Actually, let's use a fit first. Because if I use the clamp value, I'm gonna show you guys what happens. Again, it might actually work because there's only 3 colors, but sometimes whenever you do this, you actually bring it to be a little more gray or white because the clamping values are not incorrect. So I prefer using the saturated version, which is the fit one. And if I use the fit one, you can see that if I change the minimal value, it's not working. Jesus. Let me see why. Yeah, I have the color, buddy. What's wrong with you? You put as multiplicate. Yeah, I think it's because it's HDR based and it's not doing the right job. We put as a cliff. Yeah, the piece attribute. Yeah, forgive me guys, I have to find a solution right here. And I know this is cliff terrace, okay. I think the bevel is actually deleting it, I guess. No, it's right there. Try this. I'm trying to find if actually the way it's happening. Yeah, so you can see that because I'm using average. Let me try using sum. Now we have the values, okay. I don't know why we have 4, but I'm trying to find the correct one so we know what we're doing. Okay, I think mode, yeah, okay, perfect. And then we have the 3 values. It's interesting that for me, I don't know why, for God knows reason, the color itself is already there, and we converted it to color, and it's not bringing it all. So I'm gonna try avoiding to use the color and just bring a bind as a float, which is the cliff terrace itself. I need to update my Houdini. I think there's some bugs going on, or I'm doing something really bad. Let's try this out. Okay, we have that, so I'm gonna try to put the fit. Let me put there's another thing that really good for you, by the way, guys, it's important to use, is let me see here. Yeah, which is the geometry spreadsheet or the parameter spreadsheet. The geometry spreadsheet is going to give you all the numbers of what's happening. So you can see that. Okay, so that's the problem. So the CD itself, you can see that the value is going to in between 1 to 2, and then it's supposed to be 3 at the end or something like that. Yeah, so it's going to be 0, 1, 2. Yeah, so what happens here, if I put fit, it's not going to find those values. Pretty much it's not going to give me because it's going beyond 256 of the color value. So what we need to do here is actually use the unclamped and then clamp after the fact. So I'm going to use that and bring back to whatever we have here. So the source maximum is supposed to be 3, right? Actually 2, because we need the values to be 0, 1 to 2. And then you're able to clamp this. I just prefer to clamp it. And that doesn't mean that you need to. It's just better. Okay. Perfect. So now we have in between 0 and 1. Hello, Cesar. How you doing, man? Welcome. We know that we have in between 0 and 1 the values of whatever the range in between 0 and 1 is. All right. Perfect. And then now we know that we're going to be able to sort of add a noise, and I want to make sure that I use a grayscale. Okay. And let's do center. And let me see one thing here. Yeah, this seems to be okay. Here's if you want to create, use the visualize in order to see what's going on. You can put it as what you want here as a ramp value. So let's just say do CD here, and then make sure that it's point. You will have the ramp of all of the whole negative or even positive values as of the ramp itself. The thing is, you can see here is because since we are multiplying, the noise is a little bit darker, and we don't want that. So we want to make sure that we have additive, since we want the values to actually not necessarily clamp down to whatever the values of 0. So pretty much we don't want 0. And then let's delete this guy and bring this to the displacement itself. And now we know that those values are going to happen in the correct way. But since we're using Cliff Terrace to actually do the displacement, we are able to come back here and not actually use those values, or just use the CD values, which is fine. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to create a vector to float. Bring the value of CD here and just put the red over here. Perfect. And now we know we're able to just scale those guys out. But you can see that it's kind of sort of exaggerating too much, and I don't necessarily like what's going on. So what we can do here is, let me think. We want to make sure that we use those as mask, right? The way that the noise is happening. I'm thinking, how can we solve that? Okay, since we have those values. Oh, okay, we can do this, yeah. So we can pretty much make sure that the values of the noise itself, or whatever we had before, come back. The noise, we need this to be remapped. And then try the values to be a little bit different. But the thing is, we want to make sure that we have the visualize and bring that as a CD. and then wrap the attribute. There you go. And let's see if this works. That is too much, indeed. But let's come back there, bring this displacement right here, and promote this parameter. Come back. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, much better. So now we know that, like, oh, okay, it's creating some sort of variation. You can see that some of the faces are actually getting out, but we do not want the normal on the y-axis to actually be bothered about. So let's do that. We're going to create a vector to float right here. And I'm going to bring this to be float to vector. Put on X and Z only, and then bring the normal there. Perfect. There you go. So that's kind of what I would do. So now that we have this, I want to delete attribute because I want to make sure that the colors of the attribute of the color doesn't exist. So we can see that the values are actually happening right there. Okay, so this is kind of like how the way I would approach. There's probably different ways. I just didn't think of an approach right now of different ways, but hope that gives us a little bit more differentiation. Okay, so now that we have this, we are going to try bring some cracks into that surface. So how do we do that? I actually want to make sure that I come back, so I'm going to save the file. I need this resample right here. Let me see where the resample is. I want to have a little bit more resolution on this guy because honestly, it's not enough. I think it's probably just the refine itself. Oh yeah, we had this as a attribute, so I'm gonna bring back up. And where? Okay, so we had for people that didn't go through the other tutorials. This attribute node over here holds all the attributes for the whole graph. So I'm pretty much locking this guy down over here, so we are able to change while we actually fly through other nodes on the bottom. And now I want to make sure that I can change the resolution, and I want to see the points, and you can see the amount of resolution happening right there. I think that is. Yeah, I don't think I want to use the resample for that. I still want to make sure that the refine. I want to make sure that the resample actually does the job. So let's see if I can do that here. Let's put 0.5. Let's see if the resolution threshold goes better. Yeah, that's too much. Yeah, we're gonna have to deal with the blurring and all that stuff. So let's just bother by using the refine itself. What you can do is put another resample node at the bottom. So let's try that. Let's bring it to be resampled by polygon edges and maximum of perhaps, let me see, 5. Yeah. So I just want to have some sort of uniform surroundings. Okay. So as soon as I create those the resample, you can see that it's just literally creating points in the middle, and I don't want necessarily to have a lot of points. I don't know why it's actually bending over there. Let me see why. Oh yeah, 2. Interesting. You see, like it's funny how even if I put the resample itself is making, because I do want this curve to be polygons. There's bugs in my Houdini for some reason. Well, you can do this then, polypath. Because the polypath is going to transform any sort of curve into polygons. Just letting you guys know. And let me see. No. Let me just turn off Facebook. Oops. 1 second, guys. All right, so then resample itself, we can do, let's do 3 segments. I think it would be good. I don't know why is this happening. Oh my god. Full on chord, and then resample. I'm trying to find it. Give me 1 second. So we do this. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So yeah, we still want to just use the length. It's fine. Let's do the length as being 2, and then we have a little more points surrounding those paths, and then convert it to be polypath after the fact. And now let's go back to whatever we had before. And since we had this here, we're gonna have to make sure that this is copied as a creative reference copy, and I'm gonna bring that to here. If you shake it, it's supposed to actually take off the notes from that chain. If you like shake it, the mouse, but sometimes it doesn't work so well. All right, let's go back there. Cliff faces, perfect. So we have a little more resolution into the cliffs. We have the cuts, and then we have attribute delete. It's right here. Perfect. Now, I don't want to have too much the displacement because it's sort of a lot right there. Now I want to make sure that I have a group. We're going to have to remesh this whole cliff kind of scenario. So I want to do a group right here, and we can use it to be edges. And instead of actually enable everything, I'm going to take the points visualization off and include by edges. We're going to do the minimum maximum. Okay. And the minimum maximum brings the edges to actually have, well, what do we want to actually delete, right? Like, or how to dissolve the face so we can have variation of what's happening right there. And we do not want the unshared edges on the bottom. So let's try to make sure that we don't have those. So let's do this. I'm gonna call this cell angle edges, and I'm gonna create another one and create the same name. Buddy, don't do this to me. Right. I know what's gonna, so cell edges, perfect. And then I want to intersect with, perhaps, and then do just the unshared edges. Actually, intersect, no, subtract. And you can see that we have those guys, but I don't want the points of it. So let me think about how can we solve this. Because if I just say I dissolve this, I'm going to show you guys. Well, maybe it's going to work. So yeah, imagine like having to work full time in Houdini and trying to find solutions. Sometimes to explain like a tutorial, you have to actually go and do every single step in order to actually show something. I'm not doing this here. I'm literally going by whatever. I don't know the solutions. I like that way, but a lot of people might get tired of of whatever's going on here. You know. All right, so then dissolve, right? I'm going to use the dissolve, and I want to make sure that I don't delete the other edges. And let's see. No, actually, I'm going to delete the middle edges. Okay. So you can see that it's deleting those, but I don't want all of them. So we have to make sure that the angles are a little bit less, or at least have some sort of minimum into them. Perfect. But also, we do not want to delete the bevels over here. Maybe we can find a different solution for this. Let me see. So let's go to the displacement again. Delete the colors. Let's just do remesh over this guy. I'm just going to save this information for later. Perhaps we can use this. Remesh. Yeah, be careful using the remesh node, because if you put it like very small values, what we can do is just say I put like as default number 2, or put this as a unit length. So that actually minimizes the problem of every time you put remesh. I just like to save that as permanent default, so you don't have any issues of like having like a huge amount of triangulation on that, because in the past it crashed lost a lot of work. So just try to avoid that as much as possible. And I'm gonna make sure that I have, let's just say Another beauty of Houdini, you can create a, let's just say, do this edit parameter interface, and I can put a float here. Let's put it before the target size. Try to find the target size right here, and I can do this target multiplier. I don't know if it's gonna allow me, because honestly this node is already a default from Houdini. Let's see, I don't remember the, there you go, and put as 1 as default, so let's do that. And we can do a range here. Perfect, apply. And then now I know that I will be able to copy this parameter and bring this to the length, so I'm going to multiply by that value. And there you go. See, if I don't know if I save this, is actually going to cause issues. Yeah, okay, perfect. It's saved. So I still have the target multiplier right there. And I'm going to be able to just, it's actually divider, right? It's not necessarily a multiplier, but all right. So we have this over here, and we're going to be able to let's put a less resolution on this guy. But I want to make sure that I have those edges of the bevels. How do we do that? So let's go back there. In the poly bevel, there's supposed to be an edge fillet group, which is this guy. Let's see if this group is actually showing and how it is showing. So I'm going to bring it to edges. The edge fillet group is oh, it's a primitive. So let's go there. Yeah, perfect. So this guy is actually whatever is using creating a group for those fillets. They actually changed the bevel. Before it was not that. This is much better because you can select those edges in many different ways. So I don't know what the offset group is. Let me see. Edge group. It doesn't show, so it's probably a different thing. So okay, I'm going to use the edge fillet group and bring this to the remesh, and I want to make sure that those guys are the hard edges. So you can see that I'm bringing those hard edges. So the remesh itself only is going to remesh, but it still is going to try to make sure that the hard edges are there, which is very nice. I don't want to smooth anything. I don't want to recompute the normals because I still want to use the other ones. Yeah, let's keep trying playing around with this. Oh yeah, another thing that I used to do, which is funny, for another tutorial that I created. This is a cool solution, by the way. If you guys ever, it took me a while to do it. There's probably different ways, but what I did was I scaled this guy to be 0.25 right here. You can see, or maybe like 0.5. So I'm scaling down the cliff, and then I remesh this. Let's just say I want to do 1, and then I get this transform again, and I scale it up by 2. This way, what happens is you have more vertical resolution. It's funny, like it took me a while to like think about it, but perhaps you guys can use it too, and it works better for your own workflow. And then we can just pretty much put more resolution, and you can see that since I want to have more resolution on the vertical side, it just gives that cool variation of what's happening. Perfect. Now, let me think of this. For some reason, you can see that the parts of whatever is on the edges are bringing some sort of like points that are super. Ugh, I don't like that. We need to find a better solution on this. Oh, I know what we can do. So let's do a divide. After the attribute delete, and do avoid small angles. So this way you have the point, but at least the triangulation is holding. Let's see if this works. Nope, you're not. For some reason the remesher, I don't know why it's being very, very annoying the way that the new remesh is happening, because you can see like you're supposed to have the triangle in a way, but I think it's trying to find the closest point, right? So now it's not getting the top. Before it wasn't that way. For some reason they changed. Okay, so yeah, it's random. You don't know what's gonna happen. But there's a solution for this. So we can go back to the divide itself, and instead of using, let me think, let's put the group, and I'm gonna call this hold edges remesh, or just rem. Hi Cesar, sorry, I just saw your message right now. Welcome. So then from the angle, right, or whatever I want to make sure that I'm holding that edge. So let's see if I can do just the harsh angles. There you go. So you can see now that I'm able to actually hold those edges and add to the group of whatever we have on the remesh. So I'm gonna bring it there. And it needs to be, so hard edge group, and I'm able to add another one, which is the hard edges remesh, and let's see if this fixes the problem. Perfect. Yes, there you go. So that's how I would manage that part. All right, since we have that group and I'm doing this transform, make sure that all the transforms that you do not hold the preserve normal length, or actually do not recompute the affected normals, because you still want to maybe have the normals that are happening before the fact. Let's see if this is working. It's causing to be vertex normals for some reason here. So let me see. Oh yeah, because I didn't create any sort of normals in the past, so I'm bringing it back to right here. Let's create a normal S point. Yep. And then make sure that it's only on the X and Z axis. And again, you can do all of that stuff, right? I would do it by attribute wrangle, because it will ease your job. You already have some like node library for specific things like that, and because if you want to have like keep adding nodes, like you're gonna have like a chain of things. But artists, I know, I'm trying to make sure that you guys have the vision around it, and a lot of people don't want to have to do with code. So all right, so I'm gonna put a blur, attribute blur, and make sure that this is on the normal side of things. And we don't have to necessarily pinpoint the borders, because we're not going to move them anyway as the displacement goes. So you can see actually I am moving right now, which is bad. We do not want that. So we're going to have to go back, bring a group, put border points right here. And just unshared edges. And as soon as I do this, on the point VUP itself, I'm able to say, hey, border points, do not freaking move. Bam, there you go. So that's the idea. All right, so now since we have those normals, if I come back here, now I'm able to actually get some more variation with the details that we have on those guys, okay? So let's do that. I'm gonna actually, instead of doing the noise, I'm gonna add a blur after the fact as well. And let me think. You could do a mountain, guys, to be honest with you. I'm gonna just show, a lot of people know this mountain node, but I don't like it. I find it that, I like it, the fact that it's already here for you and you can play around with the values and play, anything like that. But let's just say I want to hold the normals, right, for the whole section or even the whole graph. Then the mountain kills it, and I don't want it. Unless you break the node, which is possible, you can come here and just change it. I prefer not to. So like I just prefer like doing, let's do attribute noise and displace by a specific way that it can be just any sort of attribute you want. I'm gonna use color, for example, right now. So I'm just gonna do gradient, and which might mean black and white, which is right there. I'm gonna do a center noise. I'll put an amplitude of perhaps 5, and I want to make sure that the noise is a little bit higher on the Y. And let's use, instead of simplex, let's perhaps Perlin. No, Perlin's kind of meh. Perlin's not so good, to be honest with you guys. And this guy's too much, perhaps. There you go. I'm gonna remap it because so Whirlade, a lot of other noises, the ranges that they create are different. Okay, it's not necessarily the same. So anything that you do here, you might not be able to see it. This is the reason why you may want to just put a visualize and put a CD and bring this to be ramped so you can see what the noise is doing. I'm gonna actually just save as permanent defaults because every time I can just go here and oh, okay, I want to see what's going on with the colors on the points. There you go. So it's much easier for the effect because there's negative values right there. Okay, so now we have this. I want to have a little more resolution just in case. So I put 0.5. Okay, since it's color, I'm going to think here. I'm going to create a VOP again. I actually don't want it to be colored. I want to avoid as much as possible. So I'm going to put displace amount. Sorry, cliff noise. There you go. And I'm going to go there. Since we already have normals placed, so we may be able to use this displace along normal. I'm going to put a bind. And one of the things is I would encourage as well to, for example, I have this VOP and I know that is a displacement node only for a specific attribute. I'm able to put this as string over here and save that as a digital asset. Just a heads up. Actually, let's do that because I think a lot of people don't know how to do it. So that'll be a great way to show. So I'm gonna bring it here and see what's the attribute right there. So it's cliff noise. I'm gonna copy this guy. And bring that here. Perfect. And then the mount, I want to make sure that this is promote parameter. Perfect. So you can see that. Okay, so this is the cliff noise of whatever the string is using, right? So what we want to do here is we already know that the noise is there. My Facebook. People don't know I'm busy. All right, so this cliff noise, what I'm going to do here is if I copy the attribute right there, it's going to be there. Okay, we can add this cliff noise to the digital asset itself or not. So it's up to you what you want to play around with your digital asset. I will do the easiest way because I don't want to spend a lot of time just creating a digital asset. So we know that we have this displace amount. So I'm going to bring this to be 1 if it's supposed to be going. Yeah. Come on, buddy. Give me the... What's going on with you? Why you're not working? Yeah. Spelling. And then... No, it's not spelling. Wow. What the hell did I do wrong? Cliff noise. Let's put sparse. Okay. Oh, Hugo, what did you do wrong here? Revert. Yeah, you have the amount. Oh, normal. My bad. And you have to connect the P there as well. What the hell? I'm gonna have to recreate this now. What am I doing wrong? Let's see. Cliff noise. Let's put CD so I can see if it's actually working. Yeah. What the hell? Why is it not working? Ugh. Okay, let's recreate this. I don't know. Sometimes I prefer, instead of having to try and debug stuff. All right, let's bring that there. Displace along normal. Bind. Type cliff noise. Put on scale. Put the P there. Normal. position. My monitor is like large, but not large enough. I think that the interface, my eyes are just going nuts here. I think for the next tutorials, I'm probably going to increase the size of the words and everything here, because or I'm getting too old. Alright, so now that I have that noise amplitude, let's see if we bring this information right outside, it's going to work. What am I doing wrong here? Thinking. Let's put this to be the amount then, and then try to see if this scale would do the job. Nope. Okay. Something going on with this noise, I guess. What the hell? Ah, let's proceed. I don't know. Something's going on with this bind, but it's not happening. Am I spelling wrong? I don't know. So I'm gonna use color for now. Fuck it. So just create this as being what can I say? A digital asset. The problem is, by creating a digital asset, I shouldn't use colors. So I don't know if that's a good idea. Let me try it again, guys. I'm sorry that it's just annoying that I'm not being able to do this. Okay, so yeah, it's not getting to, it's not doing as being points or something. I don't know what's going on. Let me see. City. People, I'm busy. I don't know. Let's do a piece scale. Oh, this place. This place. It is point. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, it is this place. Okay. Let's see if this works now. Let's come back in. Let's take the color off. This place. And see if this works. Oh, that now works. I think some sort of the cliff noise. I don't know. If you guys notice something different, please let me know. Anyway, so now we have this and we have the noise happening right there, and the normals are still existing, which is awesome. And now I want to make sure that I have some sort of actually, let's create the digital asset before, because I know you guys probably want to see it. Right, so we have those two nodes, and we know that this is gonna be just displace noise, and this is gonna be displace it. I'm gonna make sure that this is into a subnetwork. I'm gonna call, you have to call this a name, so I'm gonna bring this to be displace noise, I guess. And we can reuse that node many times in or tutorial if you want to. So let's create this digital asset. I'm gonna call it, yeah, whatever it is right here. Perfect. And now I'm able to just bring this window right there. I know that I want some parameters to be right here, right? So what do I want? I want the scale to be right there, and I want to make sure that the noise type is there. I want let's see, the element size, maybe element scales, and maybe I want this too. Yeah, so you can bring like the whole thing if you want it. So I'm just trying to be a little bit less. And I want the center noise and the amplitude of it. But I also want the minimum and maximum. Perfect. I may have to redo this, but we'll see. Let's see if that works. Now if I go here, you'll see that I have everything right there. And basically I'm able to choose the noise, however I want. I'm able to change the element size, and it's using then so pretty much I'm creating my own mountain, and I'm not breaking the normals, which is pretty awesome. So just something that to think about. All right, so so the interface itself of this guy, you can change by, let's say we have the amplitude right here. I want to make sure that it's larger, so I want to perhaps bring it to 50. The noise type is a string, okay, element size. Yeah, so element scale, I want to make sure it's 50. Anything that you want right here, guys, it doesn't matter. All right, perfect. So now we have this node, and I want to make sure that I save the node type first, and then match current definition. As soon as I have that, I'm going to be able to go back here and say displace noise, and I have another one. So I can go back there and or bring another noise again. So just wanted to show you guys how that makes your life easier. And you still have the normals, which is fantastic. Perfect. All right. I am holding the normals not for any sort of reason that I need. Maybe I'll need or not. I just want to show that there's the possibility. And now I want to bring the group hold edges right here. Let's duplicate that. And call it different. Let's say noise holds edges. Since I have those guys there, I do also want, what's the name of those that we had before? Let me see. We had the bevel ones, right? So I want to call let's see, where's the bevel ones? Edge filler group, but it's primitives. We called it, we promoted it to be, oh, okay, so we promoted it to be points, I think. So that's might not be a good idea. Or not, I don't know. Let's see. Okay, we had edge filler group. No, okay, still faces. All right. So what are you doing, buddy? Edge filler group. Okay. Still there? Hey, you're still there. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna have to promote this group. That's why we're actually just going to use it later, I think. And bring this to be edges. But instead of actually making all of those internal ones, we only want the edges themselves. And now the group itself, I want this guy to be there. So it kind of sums together with whatever's happening. You can put anything over here, but basically it's summing, like it's creating the base group to be whatever you had before and whatever we add extra. Another thing that I like to use as a digital asset is if you already have those, like for example, I want to have this hold edges and the solve as a digital asset, you can also do so. I'm not gonna bother with that right now, but it's a good idea to do that. Right, since I have those edges, there's another node that actually they ended up bringing, which is group find path. I don't necessarily know if this is gonna crash, so I'm gonna try playing around with this and try noise hold edges. Yeah, so it's giving me errors. Let's see, unable to construct. Yeah, so basically it's probably like very expensive to find the paths of whatever's happening. Oh, hello. All right, I'm back here, guys. Let me just bring back the screen. Right, so actually ended up not crashing, so I left it alone. Ended up like doing the job. So I'm not sure about this group find path, guys, because honestly it can cause issues. So I'm gonna try to avoid it. I don't want it to actually break or the way we're creating things here. What we can do is leave it just a little bit lower, the values right here. Okay. Can you guys hear me just fine or no? Hello? Hello? Gentlemen, can you hear me just fine or no? Please let me know. Hello, hello, hello? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Can anyone type on the chat, guys? Just tell me if you guys are able to hear me or no. Noted it to be points, I think. So yeah, it's funny. I don't know why. Like it was just causing some issues. So can you guys hear me just fine now? Okay, perfect. Thank you guys. I really appreciate that. All right, so just waiting to see if everyone was actually noticing. Okay, so now let's go back here. All right, so we have those edges selected. I'm gonna put a dissolve right here. And this dissolve, I am going to make sure that the noise hold edges is right there. So we can see how what is actually deleting over there. Let's put this off and remove the degenerate bridges. Thank you, Josh. And then let's delete the non-selected, or actually leave the delete selected, but we want to make sure that we have the border edges again. So where's the group? Since it's border points, I want to just bring that guy down. And let's do that here. Actually, you know what? I may actually want to create the, a node. A node for this guy, because we're going to use it a lot. Digital asset. So I'm going to try using that. So I need this, but I also want to make sure that this is edges. And let's subtract from the other guy, which is the noise hold edges. Now this is union. Yeah, I'm thinking. 1 second. Okay. But then I want to make sure that this has the maximum ones. Yeah, but why is it cutting off the other ones? I'm trying to find why. Okay, there you go. So we want to delete those guys, and let's do the remove or not. It's up to you. I would say I'm thinking about this because we can use those edges whenever we create the divide. Let me think about this for a second. So if I have those guys here, and I create the dissolve, let me put the angles a little bit different here. Yeah, it can cause problems right there. That's the problem. I'm thinking, how can I solve this? Actually, I want the opposite, because if we do not want the harsh edges to be there. So I'm gonna try. We want like the smoother edges possible, right? Not the harsh ones. So I actually want this to not be selected. There you go. And let's do the minimum ones. What are you doing to me, buddy? Oh, okay, so it's only selecting on that group. Let me think now. How can I do this? Yeah, so I'm gonna have to create this edge fillet group later. So I'm gonna take that off and put as replace for now. Make sure that we have only the really, really soft edges, or not the harsh ones. Let's dissolve, but before we do that, we are able to do another group. And I'm gonna call it, actually this one, I need to call it like border edges cliff, I guess. So basically I'm just trying to avoid dissolving the edges that are on the border, and I do not want it to be union, so I'm gonna replace subtract, I guess. No. Sorry guys, 1 second, I'm trying to think. Okay, it's not actually getting the border though. So we actually don't need this. So I'm gonna delete that guy. I'm gonna put his edges. And I want the group of that guy. Perfect. now we got it. Let's see what's going on. Okay, I have those. Perfect. That'll replace. Okay, so now we need this to be intersect. No, forgive me, guys. I'm just trying to find the solution here. Okay, maybe this guy's gonna work out. Hold edges. Yeah, I think, yeah, that was the solution. I apologize. So basically the idea is you have to name, this is one reason, like, I'd like to do the $OS, but it can cause other issues too, because you don't have the name. You cannot do like the same name for each node. Maybe there's a solution, but I can't find one right now. And apparently I have to use it this way in order to be able to actually put that guy in there. So now I know that I have those guys, which are pretty much just the angle itself. And whenever I go to the group, I'm subtracting this group, which is edge fillet group. You could do the same by do group combine, but I find this a little bit easier. Right, so now that I have that, I want to dissolve those edges that are softer, and I'm able to change the angle however I want right here, as you guys can see. All right, just basically that's the idea. So now that we have this, I want to create a digital asset for this. So I'm going to bring that guy out. And let's do that. Collapse to subnet. And I'm going to put like, I don't know, dissolve master, I guess. I don't know. And let's create the digital asset for this. Sorry, let me see. You had it for screen. Oh, okay. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. And I'll come back to the node itself. And we know that we want those two values of the group, right? So basically the minimum, maximum. And what else do we want here? Let me see. We could, in order to actually, so basically right here, the edge fillet group is a kind of sort of a, you won't be using that as much. You can do this. So I'm going to create a switch, okay? And in the switch node, I want both solutions. So I want the first solution, which is whatever we're trying to do here, and I want the other guy, which is the group, and sends it off there. Okay. You can pretty much, I'm able to say, hey, bring me a group, a name of a group that you want that is going to be extra subtracted to it. So I can call it, let's just say subgroup, subtract group, right? And instead also, actually, you can call it like maybe comp group, I guess, composite group, and you can do initial merge or how you want this group to actually be acted over here. Okay, so that's the, you can use, we can do actually merge, yeah, merge type, let's call that, and then we can call this merge group. There you go. So that is kind of like the way I would approach this. And the switch itself also, yeah, you actually want this guy. I actually found this a little while ago. You can actually, instead of actually, while you are in the digital asset, you don't have to go to the type properties outside. You can go here. So I want to get the switch and bring that guy out right here. Okay. So pretty much just bring that in here and call it use merge group, and I want this to be a boolean or a button. It's up to you guys. And I want to create like a sort of like a little separator. Let me see. And call a label here and say angle, edge angle, yes. Perfect. Let's save this and come back. And there you go. So pretty much that's the idea. You are able to, I don't know why this use merge group is causing to be that. So I'm going to have to try something else. I think it was supposed to be a toggle or instead of button. So maybe try toggle. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So now I'm able to use the group of whatever I want, and I can still use different methods of merging, and the group name is right there. So something that will probably help us out later in the future. So just trying to use that right now. And also it holds all the information that you have. So basically, if you go inside of the graph, we do not want to delete any attributes or any groups because you don't know what's going to happen before. I would say if you want to, okay, so just let you guys know, if you go allowing and change this guys here, you are able to say, oh, this edges or whatever the name of this guy is, and any kind of group that you have here. I'm actually gonna name this guy a different way, so I'm gonna. Usually, it's better to like do like 3 underscores, 9 blah blah blah. So you never, you're never gonna actually put that name in any sort of your graphs. So I'm gonna do that in order to not have any issues. No, I'm actually gonna do this group comp. Actually, merge. I'm gonna call this guy as well. Really different. Edge angles. There you go. And well, we need this name right here as well. Perfect. And then we can go and make sure that this is the guy. And group delete. Where is it? Yep. And we're gonna call this guy. So basically now we know that we are holding every information, but it's not causing to actually create another group, because you're gonna be able to add a bunch of things, and if we use that node, it just doesn't bring that group or any information that we're creating here. So it's just a better way of creating digital assets. Another thing I forgot is it's very good to actually create an output node for every digital asset in order to, let's just say you're working out on digital asset, and whenever you come back, the last node will be the output node. It's a good behavior to play around with. Okay, so match coordinate definition, and now we can play with that to see how everything works. Yeah, perfect. Yay. Now that we have this, we are going to do some sort of blur, a little bit of blurring. I think it's a good idea. Let me just do little angles here. That's better, but too much. Another thing is, yeah, I also created a digital asset before for those guys, but I'm not gonna bother with that right now. It's nice to do this a little bit less. So I'm gonna put perhaps 1.25 and this to be 8. So it's even more like vertical. And let's see the angles here. Okay. If we put it like bring the normals, in any case you guys want to see just how what we have here, we can just check it out by that way. All right, so now we're gonna make sure that we have the blur, right, which is right here. But I do not want to blur the edge fillet group. So what we want to do here is, since it's sending to be edges, right, we can do another guy of that right here and say, hey, I want this to be points. Okay, and we're going to crop. Instead of actually calling edge fillet group, we want to keep the original group and call this point fillet group. And say, hey, only do on the points that are not on the edge fillet group. So that's the kind of the idea of what I was going to approach here. So now that we do a little bit of smoothing, you don't have to do a lot, okay guys? Just play around with like a little bit of some of the values. And you can see that it's causing some issues here and there, right? Because the the what's happening here is those points are not necessarily following what the thing goes through. We can do a poly doctor. There's many different ways, but let's do a poly doctor right here for now. And this poly doctor, what's gonna cause is try to repair things here and there. And I don't necessarily remember every single aspect of this, but I'm gonna try to find what is the attribute over here that actually makes it happen. So let me see. No. Yeah, you can go crazy. So you gotta be really careful here. I don't even remember if it's actually the poly group or not. I remember there is a node that actually oh yeah, okay, so it's trying to repair the parts of where non-convex is, but as you can see that it's actually opening some edges here and there. I don't think it is the poly group, to be honest with you guys. I'm gonna try to ignore that. Save topology. Yeah, I don't think it's poly group. Let me see the clean. Oh yeah, Robin, you were doing that. Yeah, I know, right? I didn't experiment with that, Robin, yet, but I will. I definitely will. So yeah, I read it and I was like, oh, I was blown away. But I don't remember right now exactly what was the issue. If you may type and tell us, I would love to have the solution for that. So please let me know. Okay, I'm trying to get. No, it's not that. Let me find it. Yeah, like if you press, there's one thing about this. If you guys actually see how many nodes Houdini has, it actually goes to the other screen. You can see how many nodes. It's hard to actually remember every single name. But there was one node, guys, I remember very well. They were able to just pretty much delete those little edges that are annoying right there. I'm trying to find it. Let me try here. One thing. I'm going to put a divide here. Let's see how that works. Then we can have this guy's having a divide that is with smooth polygons, but I do not want a convex polygons right here, and see if the weighting it's going to help. Okay. Still, you see that it's like actually opening some things here and there. I don't like that. Let me try fuse. Yes, I do have labs. Perhaps there's something in the labs. Let me see. Let me know if there's anything in the labs that can actually avoid that. Yeah, I can try. I never use the clean of the labs, but that would be a great idea. No, I think there's something else that we have to do here. Let me think here. If we have edges that are in the middle. Wait. I think I know. No, it's not. Because I used to use a lot of the poly doctor, and honestly, the poly doctor was actually cleaning some things here and there. But maybe facet. Yeah, let's try facet. Remove that generate. Yeah, no, do it for me. Yeah, guys, I can't find it. I can't remember necessarily what was the function or whatever it was happening right there, but we're gonna have to deal with it. So let's do this. No, it's not clean. I don't know why. It doesn't. It's supposed to, right? I think that. Let me try. Let me try it again. Let's see. Non-manifold. Yeah, well, it's not that. No. It's supposed to, like, I used to have like something that would just not have those like edges. Maybe the dissolve itself should have something like that. So I'm gonna go to editing it and see if we can find it. Maybe remove the generate bridges, but yes, it does, but it still has those guys right there. Delete unshared edge. Let's try this out. I don't know that one, but you mean like you're talking about delete unshared edge? But can you tell me where the delete unshared edge? See, I love people from Houdini. There's always someone that knows something. Can you let me know, Robin? I will just keep going here, but that'll be awesome too. I really appreciate it, my man. Yeah, okay. Well, Robin, let me know whenever you hear it, because I know that you... Oh, from the group you mean, probably. Let's try this out. I think so. That's what you're talking about? I know that there's a huge delay on the audio. No, man, it's not that. Unless the delete node has something, so let's try it out. Degenerate, okay. Nope. Nope. Yeah, no, there's something. Let me know if you find, get to know, or if you know the solution, but we have to keep going. Thank you, man. I really appreciate your help. That's awesome. It's really good to know. All right, so I'm gonna put a little bit less, and I'm gonna bring a blur right here. So we know that we don't want those points. We have some sort of like veins on the cliff itself. I'm gonna try to not have the shading mode, so you guys can see a little bit better. And we're having a lot over here, to be honest with you guys. I think that this is not a good, it's not good to have so many points. So what we can do here is gonna create a fuse. But we do not want to fuse the points that are in those edges, so just make sure that you bring that group again. And do not fuse the fill groups. I'm going to read your stuff right now. I'm thinking which edges you want to delete exactly. Okay, basically these edges right here. You see like those guys, there are maybe like 5 side faces, or I can just do a divide, to be honest. I don't know. Just let me know. I really appreciate your help. Alright, so then I fuse those guys, and I want to make sure that the fuse is larger than your stuff. So you can see that actually it does the job in a way. It kind of makes it do that. Or what we can do as well is, instead of using the fuse, I'm gonna hack it here. It's a challenge. So I'm gonna use the measure. And in the measure, I want the areas of whatever we have here, and I'm going to call it CD for now. So you can see that the triangles that are small, we can actually use that method in order to fuse those guys, or even like dissolve them, or anything that you want to do with it. So now I know that I have this area, and I want to create a let me see, group expression perhaps. And this group expression, I want to say small faces. And let's do boom, 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 area. At area is smaller than 0.1. And there you go. So now we have a little bit of that threshold. Let's do a little bit larger. It's 0.5. So now we know that those faces don't necessarily need to exist, which is nice. Then I can do another group. And I want this group, I could do in the group expression as well, say like, oh, don't use the other group, but I don't want to play around with that right now, so it's better to make it easier. I am going to use small faces. Actually 2, because we want it to be a different group than the group expression. And I want, wait 1 second. I'm thinking. Because this is the edge group, the polyfillet right there. It's what I don't want. So we may have to go back to the point where those edges, where, let me see. So this group remote is setting to edges. So I want to make sure that I keep the original group, which is primitive. And then in these faces I want, there you go, and I want this to be negative, and this guy here, and then intersect. Perfect. There you go. So pretty much the idea is I am getting the group expression, which is right there. I have the threshold, and this group is intersecting the values with the not of the selection of edge fillet group, which is the primitive group. Okay, so this is the way to find out, and then you have to make sure that it's primitive, because actually let's actually do differently, because we have edge fillet group, which is the fillet in primitives, and we want the edges to be called something else. So let's do this. Edge fillet group edge. And then we were gonna go to, what's going on here? Oh yeah, no, never mind. I'm gonna copy this guy out and say edge. It's gonna break the whole graph, which is fine. And I'm gonna copy his name and send to the other things. There you go. Let's see if this guy goes. Okay, so we now know, yeah, it's getting the points, which is fine. Now we may actually want to use the edges, so. And then go to the blur. We know that the point fill is working. Perfect. Alrighty. Sorry, Robin. I think I missed your, which edges you want to delete exactly. Okay, so those were like the little small edges that were hanging around outside of the whole situation. Like very tiny little edges that were going outside. I think the solve helped, but I also want to make sure that those faces that are smaller or kind of tiny are out of the situation, because we want to or create bevels on them, or we'll find out later on. But we may actually want to have this guy. I'm sorry, guys. We actually might want to have those guys, because you see that have some like division here. We don't want to have that. So I'm gonna just hold this group right here for a while, and let me think. How do I want to do this? This group remote, I guess, and then the solve. So I'm gonna promote those small faces to be edges, and just the interior of them. Well, no, it's supposed to be the, come on, man. Think. How do I want to do this? Because I want just the borders. Maybe there's two things that I may have to do here. Oh, okay. I'm gonna do a for each loop or a split. And this split, I'm going to get the small faces splitted just so we can actually see what's going on. And I also use that in order to actually do a divide. Maybe actually does the divide by the group. Let's try. Never tried that before. Hopefully it does. So I do not want to convex the polygons, but I want the small faces to remove shared edges. Yay, perfect. Okay, so basically you see that I'm taking off the little tiny edges right there, but I also want the edges surrounding it, which, oh, it deletes the group. Are you kidding me? So I have to bring another right here. See if that works. Yeah, there you go. And then now I'm able to say, okay, I have those guys, not, I mean, the little edges, and I want to create the solve on this as well. Okay, labs delete small parts can be used. Yeah, I don't know if the small delete small parts will be used, because actually I think it will. We can do the polyfill, but in order to actually get the biggest one, let's try. Let's see if you're right. I'm gonna. The delete small parts actually you can do by hand really easy. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, you can see that it doesn't do it because it's not separate. So again, I will have to do this. I'll have to like do an edge cusp and then find whatever small edges are inside, or delete the biggest face. I think it's easier to just do it this way. But again, if you want to see how would we do it, yeah, sure, I can try. But I'm gonna go and do the small faces right here, and then leave non-selected. What's going on? Yeah, buddy, I have those. I think it's getting the group of being faces here. No, I don't know why the dissolve is causing it to actually disappear all the edges for God knows reason. What the hell? Huh. I'm thinking now, because honestly it's not supposed to delete those guys. Let me rename this to be small edges, and then try that. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know why. To be honest with you, if you guys know, let me know, because honestly it's not supposed to delete that. Let's do another way. Let's do your way. I'm gonna try, but I'll implement something a little bit different. So if the divide does that, and I have that, I want to do a for each loop. Actually, I'm just gonna split this first. I'm gonna do a small faces. Where is it? There you go. And then since I have a split, I'm able to see what the other one is doing. So I'm gonna do a exclamation point, not that one. And since we have this, we can do, let me think. No, man, I don't think this is gonna work out, because if I do, I will have to do edge cusp here. And then if I cut the boundary points, let me see. And then delete small parts. Yeah, it does delete, but then how do we unify it, right? Like, that's the question. That's my kind of like my issue with it. But let me try something a little. Yeah, I'm gonna use it, but very small threshold perhaps. And then I'm gonna probably use a triangulate 2D and project it back again, I think. Let's see. So if I fuse it and do a triangulate 2D, let me face. I may have to find a solution for it later on and like try to keep going, guys, because I know a lot of people are like waiting. Yeah, the triangulate 2D kind of works, but it doesn't give. It just like it pretty much brings the edges back again, and I want to still have. Let me try to put the edges there. Yeah, there you go. So maybe that will work. The thing is, the projection plane is kind of like funny as hell. Let me see if I can do from. Yeah, because it won't. No, this is not gonna definitely work. Let me think of another solution. Yeah, well, I'm trying to not convert to VDB. That's the reason of doing this video. It's literally going to. No, I did the solution before. To be honest with you, VDB will cause us to actually have to do a reduce and optimize. What I'm trying to do is, I have another asset that I created, which you're able to not have to go VDB because it actually costs more time to calculate. I'm trying to do like a real-time sort of thing where even if you move the curve of the cliff, it would give you a fast iteration. That's why I'm experimenting with that right now. Let's do another way here. Let's go back to what we have on the solve. Oh, maybe I can do this. Okay, so I'm gonna put group expression on this guy, after the dissolve master, and I'm gonna do points, and there's a thing here called valence, I think. It's supposed to work, and then there you go. I think that will cause us to get just no. If you know, Robin, there's a function that I remember called vertex neighbors or something like that. But But like for example, the neighbor count over here is correct. The problem is I don't know why. Like for example, I want to have, if a face has 3 verts, then I select those verts. That's kind of the way I would love to have. So let me know. Perhaps we can try, yeah, can diminish a little bit of those points so like we can delete those. So I'm gonna try that. No, because it's gonna delete those guys out. I'm gonna keep going, guys, because I don't want to spell. Yesterday, the other day, I spent like a lot of time trying to find out like solutions instead of like going and showing something cool. Unless you guys don't care. Alright, so now that I have this, I'm gonna use the fuse, to be honest. I'm gonna bring all these guys out. Boom, boom. Or I can use the measure and fuse just those faces. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. That's good. So I'm gonna use that and bring that here. And just bring it to points. And the area is 0.25. But I bring it to CD, so I'm going to put an area. Come on, buddy. What's going on? It is area right there. Okay. Okay, yeah. Area unfortunately doesn't work with. It has to be faces, but we can promote this guy now. And as soon as I promote. It will get just those points, but we do not want those points right there. So we're gonna need that group that we talked about before here. Where is it? Perhaps that one. Let's see, yeah. Alrighty. Perfect. And then actually, 1 second. Include only elements, I guess. Since I have this, I want to promote that group, but 1 second. No. I know. Yeah. I'll have to use group combine. So we're gonna have to do this. So we have the points, edge fillet group as points somewhere. Let me see. Or I can do this. Yeah. So I'm gonna use this fillet group right here. Group promote. And I'm gonna use the group again. And this needs to be small faces. Well, let's do this. Small faces points. So we know that there's a different name. And I'm gonna keep the original group because in case we need later on. I don't think we're gonna need, but still. And then I bring this to points. I know the name that the small face points is right here. But I want to bring this guy right here and call the same name of the small faces points. Let's see if this works now. Not this guy. There you go. Perfect. All right. So now we're going to be able to just pretty much say, hey, I don't want those points to exist, or I can or dissolve some of those, or actually create a fuse over here and say only fuse in between those guys. So we're gonna put that there. Let's see if this works. Yeah, it diminishes a little bit, but it can cause some issues. We can do let's do it the other way. So let's do blast on and like. Oh, 1 second, guys. I'm thinking. We need also not the border points. Oh my god. All right. Let's see how I do this. I think it. I don't remember if it's Y. Yeah, 2 like this. No, it's not working. Or it's actually the there you go, but it still has it there, so we're gonna have to create another one. Ugh. Or you can use the group combine, but I'm losing my mind here. I'm sorry. Again, over again. It's hard to actually talk while you're trying to solve something. It's really difficult. Faces, points. Say it again. Sorry, I'm trying to read the chat 1 second. Are you better to convert to video bit? Try edge collapse. Maybe. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. I think that can work. But I don't remember where is it. Let's try this guy. Did it do it? Yes, you were correct, my man. But yeah, we need to not have the border. So let's do that. So we need to know that those faces cannot be in the border. So we're gonna have to bring this to be faces again. But not the points, but let me think. What was this? Primitives? Actually, edges. Let's bring this to be edges as well. But then I have to promote again. Yeah. And let's do this edges. Thank you so much, man. That's awesome. I had another solution. I'm gonna try to find out. Perhaps tomorrow I can show, but I'm gonna be finishing soon. By the way, guys, like maybe 15 minutes because I didn't eat lunch yet. I'm gonna try to see if I can do the cuts and do the extrusion like I did yesterday, and we can move forward maybe like this afternoon if you guys want to. Who wants, actually, by the way, if you guys want to see more, I can try in the afternoon. Small faces, yeah, village group. No, this is wrong. Okay, so why is this? Union? No. Subtract from. Ugh. Yeah, my brain's actually not functioning anymore. I do not want the borders that I remember, so I'm gonna delete that guy. Oh yeah, okay. I don't need this. I can do just subtract from the unshared edges. Yeah, but I need this name to be right here. Perfect. Let's see if this works. Yeah, still getting the border though. That's one of the reasons why I'm kind of don't know if this will work. I'll have to like end up selecting every single edge that is there, like create the edge loop of the primitives that are surrounding, and it's not gonna necessarily get the interiors. I'll leave it here. It's a great solution. Thank you so much, but I don't think it's gonna. I won't have much time to find out how to actually solve around it. You're ready for more? Alrighty. Alright, so let's do this. We had a solution here as of I wanted to delete the interior inside of it. So I'm gonna bring it back. The divide. Bam. Okay. And you can see that we're having some little issues here and there. That's one of the, because the faces are, the noise or something's going on is causing. This is the reason why we needed the blur to actually do some more. So I'm gonna try go back there and try the blur and let's just not do that for now. I want to make sure that we have something, guys, before you guys go. So let's do that, man. You know what? Let me try here. If I do the edges from these guys in the interior, we can do the opposite. We can try to actually leave the bigger faces. It will be 9 here though. I am getting I know I'm tired too. Alright, I'm trying to find a solution, guys. Again, if you never watched this video, guys, it's all experimentation. If people participate and try to find solutions together. So bear with me.
I'm gonna try the points again. Let's go back to dissolve. Maybe it's a lot of resolution here. We don't think we know. Oh no, I remember now the solution. Gee, okay. I remember what I did. Okay, so let's go to the remesh itself and bring it to here. Let's see how. My God, it's a lot of confusion. But I remember now. So we need to make sure that the faces are larger, like this, perhaps. That's good, or even more. Yeah, like that is good. And then what I remember doing was I did a resample after the fact. So let's dissolve some of those so you can see that we have some of those little edges, but let's try to put a little more angle to them. And then I remember I did a resample. So I have some sort of noise surrounding that guy. So, oh God. I'm gonna delete this later on from the video because we spend a lot of time here. Now we do a resample to polygon and then fuse those guys. And now we know we have so many points in between those edges. And I remember that I ended up creating a little bit of resolution, and we can use the displaced noise again surrounding this. But again, we don't have the normals anymore because I think the resample changes the normals. Let's see. No, it doesn't. Oh, the fuse does. So let's not recompute normals. There you go. I think that's kind of why I wanted what I did in the past. So basically the idea is I have some of the elements going over here, right? Like the noise. And I remember I also did a sort of a jitter, because what the jitter does is sends the points in between. I don't want the zero amount. You can see that it kind of does some sort of like, I'm gonna take off the normal so you guys can see a little better. It kind of creates this approach, but then whenever I do this, I'm able to do a ray. So I ray cast back again, but I do not want the point jitter to do on the edge fillet group. So I do need this promote right here. And I hope this works. All right, and I do not want you to do on those guys. There you go. Fantastic. And then I ray all those points back to what it was before with minimum distance. Perfect. Now we know that it's changing the bottom, but again, we're gonna have to continue. I will try to find a solution later and I'll show you guys. But now you know that now that we have those points surrounding it, even if I bring this jittering, do not worry about the back face. We're gonna solve this later. But it just gives a sensation where you're like it's still holding the points to be on the surface, as you can see. Okay. And then we can just like do a blur right here. Let's try. But we want to make sure that we do not do on the point village group. And we do perhaps poly preserving, up to you what you want to use. So just like it gives the sensation where there is some erosion, but not, we don't want to blur a lot. What you can also do is, let's just say I do a lot of the jitter right here. And then if I blur this guy again, I do not want the ray to do on the point fillet group. 1 second. It needs to be points. Wait. Why is this not going there? No, wait. I was only doing there. Okay, we have to invert this group then. It's a pain. Now maybe the collision group. So we don't want the collision group to be on the polyphilic points, I guess. Yeah. That's a little bit better, but still you can see that the points are following right there. I don't like that at all. Let me think about this, guys, 1 second. I'm not gonna use the fillet right now. I mean the ray, just for now, and then we can just blur it for now and have the solution going because I want to show more. All right, we have that. Do not worry about the back faces because we can solve this later on. And you can see that. You see like the noise right here is happening. Then we have to debug, go up there and find out other solutions. So I'm just gonna keep going. Let me try. Well, let's try it this way. I'm just gonna put like 1 because I don't want to put a lot. And then jitter again, but like a smaller amount. There you go. All right, so now we can go in here and say, well, now that we have all this surface, I want to make sure that I have the divide, but also I don't want to have as many points on each line, right? So you can see that we have too much resolution, to be honest with you guys. You can have more or less, but I just want to avoid as much as possible to not see like it kind of even like already does the job for me of cleaning some of that geometry. So, and then now let's do that, and I should add a little bit more jitter. 1 second. Now, this jitter is kind of annoying me because it's not holding the points from the border. It's supposed to. Let's see. Yeah, oh, okay, so we inverted the point fillet group, I God knows why. I'm trying to find why. Okay, so let's just not do that then. There you go. Oh, okay, because it has to have the border. Oh my God, no. I'm not gonna go that route. I'll just for now, leave it this way, because we don't have much time. And then I'm gonna try to like do a little bit of the blurring, which is actually cool because you can get some of those edges surrounding it. So I'm gonna do that, and then a little bit more jitterness. Perfect. And now we go for each loop. And we're gonna see that we need an edge cusp here, and this edge cusp is gonna cause each face, right, to actually be cut in between. And then I have, why is this not working? Yeah, cut butter points. Okay, I have to reset again. So one of the things that I found annoying is that even if you are on this for each begin right here, you can do the reset cache pass, but I wish that they would do just like while you select node, but I don't know if that's possible. So now we have all those pieces. We're gonna bring each piece right here. And we do want to make sure that we have, let me think, an extrude, I guess. Let's do an extrude in here. No, we're gonna do extrude later. Actually, no, before, sorry. Gonna do extrude right here. But we also want to make sure that we have the connectivity of these points, so it has to be before the extruder has to be after the fact, because this connectivity is going to give us I'm going to bring this to be called cleave pieces, and I know there's I think that was a random or on the labs. I'll try to see if I can find it. It was a random kind of color or by attribute. Let me see. Yeah, there was like a kind of attribute something with the labs. Let me see, labs. No, I won't remember right now. But let's do it the regular way. So now I have this connectivity. You can do. Oh no, there was a. Oh God, I remember now. The partition. There you go. There you go. So this partition basically what it does, it creates a rule for every single one of them. And I think there's a color. By whatever you want of a specific attribute, but it's not working. Let me see here, guys. 1 second. Yeah, supposed to create the color for each of those guys. Huh. No, I won't remember right now, guys. I'm sorry. I'll do it random for now. Okay, cool. We did a random, and each of those faces are going to have a value. And how I'm going to do this, right? So I'm going to promote this attribute of color. And this promoting, I'm going to bring the primitive as the color. Okay, so you can see now that I have each primitive being a different color. And because of that, I can have this attribute of the color being a float as the Z scale of the extrude. So let's do this by VOP. I find it easier to like interact with and also explain. Because by code, a lot of people are not going to understand much. Even I will have a little harder time to find solutions to. So now I know that the color has variation. I want to have the color to the CD, and I want to see grayscale. But it's not showing much. So let's see, what am I doing wrong? I do have the color information right here. What the hell? Oh my god. Oh. Okay, let's do, I know why. Color correction. And in this color correction, I can do less saturation. So I'm going to bring the color right here. Why is this not working? Oh my god, did I put primitive again? No. Oh, okay, I know why. I have to make sure that this is promoted by primitive to point again. There you go. Because we had the attribute of color being primitive, so we need to make sure that it's promoted to point again, or it's not going to show anything. So it's a little annoying, but it's necessary because the amount of colors that you have here are gradients, right? And you need to be flattened first, and in order to do that, and you may want to do mode, you know, to have a little more contrast. And then, since we have each one being random colors, I'm gonna take off the edge boundaries, and we can do this here by, let's put it here, send this right here, and then I'm gonna do a bind export. So let's check this out. So we have the colors, but I want to make sure that it's only on each float, right? So I'm gonna bring this by bind export. Let me see if the colors work over here just fine. Perfect. And I want to call this Z scale. We don't need those colors anymore. So I'm actually gonna delete the attribute of the color, so we are fine with this, with those. So we know we have that, and then I need to promote the attribute of Z scale to be primitive. I know you can't see it, but it's there. You can go to the geometry spreadsheet and check it out right here. Let's see if we can have it. Yeah, it's right there. So you can see like all of those values on these are entirely random. And in order to actually have a little bit more exponential values, if you wanted to, you can do think here. You can multiply a constant if you want to, and bring like super higher values. Say I want to multiply these values over here by 50, right? And send it off. If I go to the geometry spreadsheet again, we're going to see, let me see here. Yeah, the Z scale is randomized by the 50 amount. So it's nice because then if I send this to the poly extrude, save this file, I'm going to still use the same point normal, but I'm not sure if we still have those normals, by the way. So we have to find out where we didn't bring those normals, okay? Because I remember we were holding the normals on purpose. There you go. Yeah, we don't need these normals right now. There you go. Yes, yes, yes. Perfect. See, that was actually a use for the holding normals. Yay. Okay, and then now we want to make sure that the point normal and the attribute normal holds. And we want the Z scale right here to be on. And then now we're able to scale what's going on here. So let's just check. Yeah, the values are huge. All right, that's another thing that we may want to do is know for sure the values of each of those of the faces, because what we may have to composite some things here and there. So we're gonna put a measure, and we know that we have those colors right here. I'm gonna measure the before that, so I'm gonna try to bring the area before the fact. I'm gonna just call it CD for now. Okay, so I clamp the values, and then I'm gonna bring and call this area again, so in order so we can actually see what's gonna happen. And I'm not gonna scale this to be. It doesn't necessarily to be that large. So I'm gonna maybe 2 is fine. Actually, not. I don't even need it. But I want to bind the area over here. But again, the area is primitive, so we have to make sure that it's points. How do we? Let me see if I bring this to be points. Let me save the file. How does it work? Don't like it that much, to be honest. So I may have to rely on promoting, but I need to see if the faces are separate here. And there are. So let's promote the area to be again points. Yes, it is here, buddy. Oh. There you go. And then now we go there. We have the float, put an area, and let's composite this by saying I want to multiply the value of the colors that we have there to be by the area, because I do not want some of those little faces to like just pop it out too much. I'm not sure if this is gonna work, but let's try it out. Attribute wrangle, blah blah. Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, like, oh yeah, you do have to have the F before because you have to call it a flow. You're right. Thank you. So now we have those values, but then now you were able to just bring the faces in a little kind of random way. Okay, and we want to also do another thing here, which is we want to add a little bit of a value, a float, because if you don't add anything, the extrude is not actually going to go from 0. We still want to have a little bit of a head. So let's add a float here. And all of all those the like area or even the Z scale, all of the parameters that you have on those nodes, you're able to create a digital asset if you wanted to later on. But I'm not gonna do that right now. So it's a constant. I'm gonna put it perhaps 0.25. Let's do this here. Actually, I may want to create a. Yeah, I'm gonna put it as a parameter because I want to make sure I play around with it after the outside. Minimum amount. Let's put default as 0.25 and then bring that here and make sure that after the multiply it's there, and bam, there you go, perfect. And then we're gonna add a blur after the fact. That's too much. Oh yeah, we do not want to add a blur to maybe everything, but we'll see. I'm gonna try to play around with the values here first, and then we can find later. And we may wanna, I think we may want to do like a split of whatever the front faces are happening, because if you have just the face in the middle, you want to divide triangulate only inside and not out exterior. But we'll try with that without it, so you can see if it works or not. Let's see. Small, okay, and then blur this. It might actually work just fine. I don't know why it kills the normals, for God knows reason. But anyway, put a normal here. can see a little bit better. So the amount that I'm putting on the extrusion is too much. So we're gonna have to bring that down a little notch. There you go. And I'm gonna make sure that the normals are a little bit more to the points and face area. So we did that yesterday, but it didn't like have like a more control, and I think that it was not as stylized. I still think that this is not good, but we learned some things here today, to be honest with you. Oh my god. Let me put a little bit more. Yeah, we don't want to have a lot of those guys going in and out. So let me try, instead of actually extruding them by distance, let's try transforming some of the controls. And let's rotate them like this, perhaps. So it kind of gives a little bit better controls. I'm not liking this. I'm very picky with whatever I do. Let me just leave as transform. I'm gonna put this just like a tiny little level and then blur this so we can have some like kind of bevel in them, but not entirely. And then blur this guy a little bit more. Oh yeah, we need to fuse this, of course. If we use the bevel after the fuse and it doesn't work, I don't know how to actually make the bevel. If you guys know if the new versions of the bevel are better, I did try and it worked before, but I don't know why it was not like doing a better job for me. But anyway. Yeah, so right now we have some issues here and there, right? The faces, we're gonna have to debug a lot of those issues, but like for now, I think that we start having some sort of interesting aspect. But I'm not digging this, guys. To be honest with you, I would totally like just avoid using this method for creating low poly clips. I have a file. If you guys want, I can like in the afternoon show step by step what I did exactly, how to actually create. It looked amazing. So we can do this like maybe in 2 hours. I don't know. I will record it again, but we learned some things here and there. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, that we can do it. But the solution right here, I'm not liking it, and it's experimental. I never promised that like I have like the whole thing, but I'm really not digging this. Still, we're learning, and we had this terrain right here, which. Now if people didn't see it before, we can go there and like the curve itself. And let me put and can change the curve, and it changes the scenario. So maybe instead of actually working on the cliff detail, we can like probably try bring some other different solutions. I'm open to hear whatever you guys want to see. So let me know. So I appreciate this time. It's experimental again. If you guys want to see something different, I can show the new file on the afternoon in maybe 2 hours. I'll post on Facebook. Any questions? I'm going to wait a little, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes most. Actually, I'm gonna try to see if I can find the file, because if I have it, I'm gonna like just make the screen invisible real quick. I think I have it somewhere easy to open. So hold on a second, guys. I can probably show this right now. But if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Yeah, so that's what I kind of did on the other one, but a little different here and there. I'll show. I think I did edge fracture many times, and it was an incredible solution, and I loved it. But again, I'm experimenting, guys, so it's just basically trying things here and there. It doesn't have to be. If you guys want to see something that it's like, oh, Hugo, give me the solution, follow through it, and I will do like step by step. But I have more pleasure doing this way. I can though, but I like to find it in like a procedural mindset, I guess. 1 second, I'm trying to find the file. And please ask whatever you want. I'm gonna try to respond. Where's the tutorials folder? Right here. I think I found the file. Give me 1 second. Yeah, that was like a year ago. Jeez. Not even sure if it's gonna open. Let's see. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff, like there's like sub form and stuff that I didn't have. So I'm gonna see if I can still manage to see it. I actually may be able, guys. Give me 1 second, okay? Oh yeah, I have some cool stuff to show you guys. Yay! Alright, let's do this. Let me bring... 1 second, guys. No questions, I guess? Alright, so I'm gonna try to show this real quick. The graph is a little bit of a mess, guys, and a long time I don't open this file, so I'm gonna try bringing the screen again. Can you guys see it just fine? Let me know. All right. So this is like, it was like a random thing that I did. This is the reason why I don't remember a lot of stuff, because it has been a long time I don't play with Houdini much. But the idea here is I have the path thing, and even oh my god, it was organized. Let me see if this node works. Let's see if this worked. Yeah, so basically that was kind of the way I was doing things, and I was playing around with a bunch of crazy methods of bringing stuff around. And I can go here, like for example, let's say if I have the height over here, I can play around and create this sort of formation. Even like the way the sediment goes there, and the banking angle of it, and I have even like how it was in the bottom. See, like I can have like a bank angle, even does that kind of formation. So I can do the minimal value or even like the bias. Oh my god, it was good in Houdini. Nowadays I'm like terrible. I need to practice more. So yeah, so I use that kind of sort of really cool fracture mesh, but also I remember doing another little file here that I had. 1 second, which is this gentleman. So even like let's just say you know God of War or any kind of game like that, they have like already cracks being done on the surface. So I did this real quick here to show you guys. We're gonna put up the remesh right here, the triangulate. And then I want to have, that is too much, by the way, buddy. Let's do 1, 2. And if I go down end of the whole thing, it kind of does this. So basically the idea is, let's just say you want to bring details on your floor. See that it already cleans the mesh for you. It already gives you all the information that you want. And I want to make sure there's points. And the way that the faces over here are in extrude are wrong, but let's see if I can find why is it happening. I'm doing a translation. Why? Let's see. Yeah, so if you brought, let me put this normal inverse right here. Let me see what I was doing, because I'm trying to find a way to actually bring this, yeah, so okay, I did a connectivity, and I use edge fracture for this, guys. So you can see that if I bring the D key right here, and I have the D fracture, so any surface that you have, anything that you want, you can bring some sort of really easy, that's what I was trying to, like any mesh or floor mesh that you have, you are able to crack it and have a solution for bringing some like any rotational or even like random concrete breaking instead of actually using the fracture per se. I don't like to use the fracture because sometimes whenever you, I mean the Voronoi, I'm sorry, if you do the Voronoi or even the glass RBD fracture that people are using, it's so buggy. Not in a bad way, it's just that also it's more for movies, and it brings a lot of little open edges. They're not, you know, fused or anything like that. So I prefer using this way. But again, everyone is different, right? So I know that now I have this primitive right here, right? And I had this group, extrude front. So I'm able to just say, oh, okay, extrude from the extrude front a little bit more. But then you create the points, which is the front seam right here. And you have those guys, and I'm able to just bring the little bevel right there, as you can see. Instead of actually creating a bevel, which is buggy, you're able to do that way. So, and then I ray back so you can actually have the points being down. That's pretty much the idea of what it was. And if I just do a UV flatten, you already have the UVs right there. So that's kind of what I wanted to show. There's not a lot to it, but I think there's another thing that I did here. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is crazy. Oh my god. Okay, there was a crazy solution. I'm gonna show real quick, but there's a. It would be impossible to put this in a tutorial. Like, it will be 3 days or so. I did the fracturing. Okay, so you can see that I have through this line. I create a bunch of points scattered from top to bottom, and put some of them in the middle, and then I transformed them and brought it to as being fractured to a face. Okay, and why am I doing this? I'll explain soon. Then what I do here, I'm not sure if this is gonna break, by the way, guys. I did this, so I created really tiny little faces right there, and then I displace this guy. It's gonna calculate. I hope it doesn't break. And you can see that I have some sort of formation of rock foundation there. And then I cut some of the faces in order to have some hard edges, I guess. Let's see. Let's keep going so we can find out what's going on. So then I flatten, I believe. Oh yeah, it has to be this way. Oh my god. And again, this might not even be useful. But I remember that I separated and brought it to kind of like a curve. This is not working anymore. I think it's broken somehow. Because I have a curve, right? I have this cliff edge curve that is outside, and I'm bringing in. And you can send it back. But I think this saw path form there's probably a new from the labs. So I'm going to try a new one right here. Because this one is the old one. So I don't know if they updated in a different way. And let's see if the settings are correct here. Alright, so this is scale 1. And this is 0. Yeah, but it's not working correctly. I don't know why. Z plus. Oh, okay. Plus Z. Yeah, okay. So basically that's the idea, but it's not doing the right job, I think. I don't know. I have to play around with it later on, but that's pretty much what I was trying to do. Basically, you are able to, by the face itself or the length of whatever you have on the line, put the detail and bring it back to whatever the shape is here. That's kind of what I was trying to do. So any kind of formation of rock that